Welcome back to the LCS, where we're taking a look at the Samsung SSD Fast 5 ahead of Cloud9 versus Immortals. Before we dive into that matchup, we're going to take a look at the entire leaderboards, remembering that we're tracking statistics for all 5 lanes to see who can be the fastest to these different benchmarks. Interestingly to me, Blaber is the only member of Cloud9 that holds a #1 spot.
Yeah. He is kind of the big resource dump for the team, which he uses very well. You know, he is the best jungler in the league, maybe the best player, he's a reigning MVP. But, you know, Vulcan's up there as well with the transformation time on his support item.
I mean, I think Blaber is just being able to play Olaf at a level that no one is quite reaching. Partially it is the team, but the way that he's just greeting for himself and simultaneously finding plays is what lets his time be so outrageously faster than anybody else. About a whole minute. Just look at the discrepancies between everybody else in all the other categories. It's not much, whereas in jungle time, this is honestly disgusting. A minute faster. Like, if you have a minute of ultimate over your opponent, that's enough of a window for you to just win the game flat out if you know how to pressure well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's huge.
I also saw EG had 4 members all across on the different ones between first and third. You know, Dignitas had 3, I think. So there are other teams with a couple other standout performers, so to say.
Well, while Cloud9 has many standout performers, let's turn our attention to the matchup, because it's an Immortals team that just picked up their first win yesterday, and it was done with the Academy lineup. Now, recognizing there are 3 LCS veterans on that Academy lineup in Xmithie, Apollo, and Hakuho, how did you guys feel about the way that Immortals showed up yesterday?
No, I thought the rookies, I think, did a really good job. They actually held their owns pretty well in the lane. I know that the top lane matchup was a little bit skewed because Haunter took the wrong runes, but especially the way Insanity played against Damonte, which was a really important matchup because we always sing Damonte's praises, and Insanity did a really great job. He was in an advantageous matchup, but he took advantage of that, was ahead in CS, was forcing flashes by himself, so I was really happy with the way the rookies on the Immortals roster actually performed.
One of the things we always talk about is Blaber's explosiveness, but on the flip side, we talk about Xmithie's control. So I'm really curious about how this jungle matchup is going to play out. Is Xmithie actually the guy who might be able to contain what is that menace of Blaber?
I mean, I don't know if it's exactly contained, but not getting abused is what I think he can do. He can definitely keep up, whether it's getting an advantage on his own, only if he gets a Nidalee matchup, which would be quite risky, but you got to take risk if you want to beat Cloud9.
I was going to say it is contingent on how Insanity factors in, because whenever you talk about Blaber, like, you can't not talk about Nisqy because of how much he assists Blaber, how much he gives him to get him ahead, and how well they work together. And so Xmithie can probably handle Blaber on his own at different points, but, you know, is Nisqy going to be flying in with a Galio on top of him? Is Insanity going to be ready to follow up on that play? That is kind of the X factor that often puts things so heavily in C9's favor.
You cited risk, Crumbs. I know you called out maybe that Nidalee, but where else would you see risk? We saw something as you know, simple as a Malphite pick in the top lane, but what nobody else is playing currently that gave him that team fight execution.
Yeah, I mean, Allorim likes to play in the Malphite if he can. It definitely, you can lose the lane gracefully and still be super useful later into the game, but it's a very good pick for being able to teleport and assist the side lanes as well. So it is also a risk to take someone like Malphite, because against somebody like Licorice, who can be playing the Jason, who can be playing with strong side and abusing that pick, you won't necessarily find the opportunity to get those teleports down. So all of the drafts that Immortals went for isn't a bit risky in itself, because Cloud9 has the tools to punish them.
Without a doubt, it's an underdog story as the Academy lineup moves up to LCS. They've got 1 win under their belt. Can they make it 2 this weekend against Cloud9? We're handing it back over to Pastry Time and Ezreal to get us into that game.
Well, Dash, it'll be quite the task if Cloud9 will indeed be toppled by Immortals, but that was the longest game of the split we just had, Ezreal. So we very well may have the fastest coming up if Cloud9 is still on form.
Hey, I mean, both of these rosters have 100% win rate. You know,
True.
Immortals may have only played 1 game, but who's to say? You know, definitely they did look better in their first win. They are clearly massive underdogs going up against Cloud9. I think it's fair to say every single team in the league is right now, based on the performance that Cloud9 have put on not only in summer but in spring. And I'm going to be interested to see what Immortals can bring out. You know, I want to see these teams take a swing, try to bring out something creative, try to bring out a different look that could swing the game in their favor.
Well, if you're looking for something different, certainly this is the Immortals lineup to do it. Quickly running through the draft because we're already at first pick. It's Twisted Fate first for Cloud9 with Graves, Trundle, Orianna banned for C9, and Immortals banning Syndra, Olaf, and Varus. So no real surprises. Maybe Yuumi being open here is one of the things to think about, but very rapid Twisted Fate pick here. Nisqy clearly wanting the champion, prioritizing it here in this draft.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it's so hard because like I almost want to say, oh, you shouldn't have given TF over to Cloud9, but there's so many champions that they are proficient on that it becomes very difficult to deny them all. My issue with giving a champion like TF to Cloud9 is that it's literally exactly how Nisqy wants to play. He wants to push his wave, he wants to be able to ult into the jungle to assist Blaber with his aggressive play, he wants to go to the side lanes and snowball the side lanes, and this champion does that. That is exactly what this champion is made for. So you have really given Nisqy the champion that I think fits his playstyle pretty much perfectly here. They are very obviously leaving up the Ezreal and the Zoe, so poke comp being built over on the Immortals side. That being said, Yuumi doesn't really pair well with the Kalista, generally speaking, because you can't really throw in the Yuumi, you're attached. So, Immortals feels comfortable to actually, skip over the Yuumi, thinking, hey, we can still get it third if you want. And if they do grab that, then Immortals basically has that ideal 3 champions that creates the core of most of the most successful poke-style compositions. You have the Ezreal Yuumi bot lane, you have the Zoe in the mid lane. If you really want to over-index on poke, you can even go for Jace or something like that. But I am expecting them to just grab Yuumi here.
Oh, goodness.
Ivern, interesting. Okay, so I know Ivern has started to come out a little bit in pro play. This champion to me is just like Jungle Janna. This is like as supportive as you can get coming out of the jungle. The clear is something that I do think you've got to put a little bit of time into, like understanding how to play it, because it is not like any other jungle champion. You've got to know the proper routes. You've got to know how low you can get, when and where to smite to actually, do the optimal style of clearing. I would say generally speaking, pre-6, he is pretty terrible in any sort of skirmish involving Lee Sin, but post-6, you actually get pretty disruptive. Between Daisy and the spam shields and the roots, the knockups that can come out from Daisy when it does stack up, it can become pretty effective. And it is also a champion that when paired alongside poke-style champions like this, you can be dropping brushes from them to poke from. You can have Ezreal standing in a brush in mid lane shooting mystic shots out at you. That can be pretty annoying. It blocks off vision and creates these areas that can be pretty difficult to actually engage into. So I think it's worth taking a shot on something different like this when you're going up against Cloud9.
Well, I like these last 4 bans. GP Jace for top lane there. Allorim also getting respect and having the Urgot taken away, but Yuumi, understandably, is going to be removed. Cloud9 don't want to deal with Ezreal, Zoe, Yuumi, let alone the Ivern that's also been selected here, but bold to take Ivern against the most aggressive jungler in the league, but Xmithie certainly with the experience to handle it. We'll see how it shakes out as IMT lineup a pick. It's nice and safe here. Gonna kind of pick a mid lane by the looks of things, as that is Aatrox.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is if they had wanted Yuumi, I don't think that Ivern was about to be banned in phase 2, right? So if you wanted Yuumi, maybe they didn't want Yuumi at all, and then it's like, okay, well, that's just fine. If you think that a different support would actually fit better, and they are saving their support pick for last on the side of Immortals, so it does tell me that they have something kind of interesting to potentially come out, something conditional perhaps to come out. It's going to be Wukong here for Licorice top, and Allorim was always known as the Wukong guy.
Yep.
So Licorice is picking Wukong against Wukong. And finally, Mark Z can rest with his Wukong crusade. He's invading over Simplified, even stealing content from Riv, trying to get this champion picked. And Licorice must have got the memo. He knows about the 2 ultimate charges that Wukong has. The rest of the LCS may learn if we can see this going well for them. It's also interesting because we had Allorim on Analyst Desk just recently, and he was actually talking about Wukong. And one of the things he feels is that Wukong oftentimes actually has to play weak side of the map that doesn't have the strongest laning phase, but we know how damn good the team fighting can be. And it is someone that is very, very explosive in those 5v5s. Hakuho going to grab Nautilus for that last pick, so a little bit of hard engage to be grabbed here for the Immortals side. It does give them that point and click ultimate to be able to lock down Kalista, who can be pretty pesky to lock in place, so I think that makes some sense, but they are going to have to be fairly careful in that bottom lane 2v2, and I think that Xmithie's going to have to be really careful about running into Blaber. So my concern for Immortals is mostly them kind of getting run over early. You know, if they can hold even, if they can establish themselves in the mid game, maybe they can make something happen, you know, poke people out around objectives and try to, you know, win through that kind of a style.
Yeah, we did see it earlier from the analyst desk. You know, we did want to see the Samsung Fast 5 because it does feel like Cloud9 at this point are just trying to break their own records. Like, can they do better than Spring as far as win rate goes? Well, that will be pretty tough to top given that they only picked up 1 loss in the regular season. But hey, certainly on the table if they can stay undefeated here through week 3. We just had the longest game of the split, as I mentioned, but the fastest game was CLG versus EG, 24 minutes and 9 seconds.
Ooh, that was the perfect game, huh?
Yeah, if we're trying to track some fun stuff, that is the current record to beat. Also, Blaber's trying to beat his own level 6 time. Lee Sin versus Ivern, 5 minutes 36, the one to beat. We'll see if C9 have the speed run ready to go, or if Immortals, with something a bit different here in the jungle, can contend with a brand new roster.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. I don't think Blaber has much chance of beating his own record as he was playing Olaf on it, and Olaf is basically cheating, you know, compared to the Lee Sin power clear. No one could really keep up with the Olaf, so that'll be a tough one to beat. But yeah, I mean, Cloud9 always does feel like they're speed running it. You know, they are such a quick team. You know, so far, I know going into this week, and stats may have changed a bit, obviously, with this super long game and everything, but the average game time in an A was down 3 minutes in the first couple weeks of the split compared to last split. So, you know, the games are getting faster in general. I do think that a lot of teams are kind of taking a page out of Cloud9's book. And, you know, this is a trend that I see really everywhere in the world where whoever is the best team in your league, that is who people look to try to learn from, right? And in the past, we have had a lot of teams that were more kind of the slower scaling style teams like TSM and TL, who like to play for team fighting late game, who were very proficient about playing this slower macro style game. And that is what teams are trying to emulate. And then we have had, you know, and SKT falls in that bucket too. And then we've had teams like FPX and IG and G2 and now, you know, Cloud9 and all these teams that are playing very aggressively and more loose and fast and aggressive. And people are saying this is an extremely successful way to play League of Legends. And that is making other teams try to learn and emulate the style, which I think is making the games more exciting.
Absolutely, and certainly had a lot of drama today already. We'll see what happens here in this game as we come up on it shortly. I think, though, for me, like, the most impressive thing about Cloud9 is that they continue to push themselves, even when they're dominating the league. They're clearly the best team. They haven't lost a game yet still. You know, they're willing to pick new champions. They're continuing to push themselves on how aggressive they can make on plays. They want to get those times down and have the games be even faster and cleaner. Like, it's hard enough to keep up with Cloud9 given their current skill level, but they continue to push themselves and the rest of the league with how they play. And to me, that's the most fun thing about watching Cloud9. It's not just that they're good, they're the best, and they keep getting better, which is a very challenging thing to do when you're at the top.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got to be very introspective to improve when you are not losing, right? When you are losing, teams are showing you your mistakes. It's much more obvious. When you are never losing and it's like, well, I do this and I win, and I do that and I win, well, okay, I guess I'm the best, right? It becomes much more difficult. You have to look more closely at the games, look for these smaller adjustments and improvements that could have made the game even cleaner, that could have allowed you to dominate even harder, that could have allowed you to avoid that death. And that is something that I think that they have done well thus far. And, you know, they want to continue to push that if they want to maintain this level. You know, people also talk a lot about how teams very frequently have a fall off after, you know, reaching kind of a pinnacle, after, you know, getting to the top and winning. It's very easy to just get cocky and say, well, we slammed spring, of course we're going to win in summer. You know, maybe we don't need to play as much solo queue, maybe we don't need to practice as hard or try as hard. And if you fall into that trap, teams can, you know, catch up to you and surpass you very easily. So it's been interesting to watch Cloud9 in summer. You know, I know a lot of people in North America are excited to see them internationally because we didn't get to see that at MSI, and people were worried, oh, well, are they going to fall off in summer? So far, not yet.
Yeah, and, you know, that's nice for Cloud9 and all, being as good as they are still and continuing to push that envelope. Even though it's always challenging to play up against Cloud9, right now especially, there is always the prize of, like, who's going to be the first team to beat them. And look, given how much has happened to Immortals in just the past week alone, picking up their first win yesterday, it's unlikely that they'll win this game based on odds in the matchup, but beating C9 is always going to feel great, especially if you're the first team to do it. And if we're looking to have Immortals reinvigorate themselves as an organization, there is no bigger statement right now in the LCS than taking down Cloud9.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that when you come into a game like this as Immortals, you know, they've played one game with this roster in the LCS. Yes, they were playing together at Academy. They were sitting at 3-3. You know, they came in, they got their first win in the LCS, and you are very, like, free playing this game. No one is expecting you to win, so there is a lot less pressure, and sometimes that can bring out the best in players, in teams, when you can play more relaxed, when you're not worrying about expectations. So we'll see if we get something like that from Immortals today.
Well, you did say that Ivern is basically, Janna in the jungle, short of taking Spell Thieves, I guess, and like, I don't know, laning. Guardian here for Xmithie, which certainly a lot better. I'm sure he'll be rejoining soon.
Yeah, Guardian is actually very effective. Well, he's still moving, so I think we're probably all good. I think that was actually a delayed thing, and that's probably why we were a little slow getting into the game. But Cloud9 looking for the invade here. They want to be able to stop this early Ivern clear. They're trying to look to actually fight and steal away potentially on this blue buff. Paulo can be annoying here and look to poke, but you've got to be very careful about actually getting caught with a hook or anything like that. So you can also see Licorice is warding their own blue buff. So they actually want to fight for this. This is interesting. They are going to try to look to channel. Anytime you hit him, that will cancel the channeling, but Vulcan is taking a lot of damage, so...
Yeah, getting some poke back, but Aftershock already procced, the buff goes over, and now Blaber's just in there. He's level 2, he's getting exhausted. Gonna dance back to his teammates, but he gets hooked. Blaber getting a little bit lower, but Vulcan with another good flay gets rooted down the other side, and that looks like first blood served up. Not yet. IMT flashing in. There's Blaber going back in, but that's already a kill, and now Blaber's gonna be caught out of position in a 2v4 now for Cloud9. Good flash there from the Lee Sin as Blaber...
He can flash for the root.
He's going to go in again. Oh, good flash order there from Hakuho. Root lands again. The ward back up for Blaber means he can dance back towards the tower. I mean, he's level 2, but he gets hooked again. Now they go in for it. The first blood they want it if they can get it, but Apollo does find the snipe. Will be traded out though to Zven as he gets the blue buff at the end of it all. Chucks up the thumbs up, and goodness gracious, 3 kills in 2.5 minutes.
Oh my god. Apollo starts 0 CS, but 2 champion kills. Not bad. That was actually an insane chase down. I don't think Cloud9 would have expected them to be able to actually pull that off. There was not really any chance, I think, of Xmithie ever actually being able to get this, because you've got to get the full channel to actually, be able to have that instant smite and grab the blue buff, and that's what Xmithie was going to try to do. But Apollo with the hook, you have the passive roots from the Nautilus, non-stop Qs coming out here, from the Ezreal poking them down, and Xmithie was going to have his root caller as well to continually land those roots. And this was honestly just a pretty decent punish here from Immortals, but it's going to put us into such a weird position where, people are going to be way down in the experience. People are going to be set very far behind the curve. I do think if you can actually trade, that was a cancel auto. I'm not sure if it actually would have mattered because I don't think you actually get out there by Apollo, but if you could put both the Lee Sin and the Ivern behind, I think as Immortals you are happier with that. We'll have to see how it does pan out though, as Blaber was quickly back out onto the map. Has already gotten his level 3. Xmithie has only taken 1 camp still.
Yeah, took his own blue as well. I guess that's the whole initial point of the invade, is to take a camp away from Ivern, which has been successful. Blaber on the left-hand side of the map there. That does mean Xmithie will go ahead and take down the crab. Does smite it to take it down instantly. Still the red buff available for Blaber, but I imagine at this juncture he is going to get it. So Xmithie will indeed be 3-buffed.
Yeah, and Blaber went to the blue buff, I think, just in case Xmithie was going to try to steal that away. He assumed that would be the camp that he would go to. But Xmithie here with a decent clear, he drops actually the marks down on, he had them on the Wolves, on the Gromp, on the Raptors, and then went down and actually used his smite over on that Scuttle. So he has now picked up, a number of camps, going to be working up towards that top side and kind of caught up as far as the clear is concerned to Blaber. Obviously, if Blaber does full clear and not look for ganks, he will be camps ahead because he did take that blue buff. But we're put into a pretty interesting situation, and even Zven with that trade kill back will have been able to have a very nice early buy. He's on a really strong set of items despite only having the 1 kill to the 2. He had a better chunk of gold to actually buy when he went home, so he gets the Cull and the Longsword, which is going to have a lot more combat power than that of just the Sapphire Crystal plus boots.
Yeah, pretty even across the board though, as kind of everything settles down. Junglers are staying close in XP and farm. A little advantage here for mid lane, current advantage here for Zven, but again, as Apollo catches these waves, he'll catch up. It is actually Licorice with the counter pick after Allorim took the Aatrox blind, where he's currently doing well in the 1v1.
Yeah, we'll have to see how much of that farm is available for Allorim to grab, as it looked like a big wave was pushing towards him. So not actually sure exactly how far ahead he is, but Cloud9 double culls early on, going to be stacking that up, can pay off. in a couple minutes down the road, that can start to look pretty nice. Obviously going to take them, their 8 or so minutes to actually cash that out, but that's something that they can look forward to as a little bit of an injection in gold. Xmithie going for those early Moby boots. This is pretty standard on the Ivern. A lot of the builds that I have seen, sometimes in pro play, people would go for something like a Redemption, but Athene's is very effective. It's really just skip the jungle item generally, go straight towards the supportive style items, and you do just act like this support with just a ton of gold. It's going to be maxed on the shield. It's going to be, very much kind of buffing up these carries and trying to make them set up for success.
Yeah, interesting flex there from Nisqy in mid. Pops the Fun plus Phoenix Smoke and then misses the cannon. Probably not the plan. But I do appreciate that Nisqy has been very consistent in laning and managing to emote while weaving in the autos. Bottom lane Blaber is showing some attention, but could actually have a dive brewing here. Xmithie is covering, so it's going to be a 3v3 if anything, and it seems like Blaber just going to get some info and dip on out.
Yeah, I think they want to move more likely towards the dragon. I think that dive will be way too risky since Apollo and Hakuho are still full health, and Xmithie, could have been in that area and now has been confirmed to be. You have the Kalista, you have the Lee Sin, so with that push, just go to the dragon, start stacking it very, very early. This is something that Cloud9 has done so consistently throughout every single game this split, no matter what they are playing. In the first couple games, it was 3 games of Olaf, and people are saying, well, okay, yeah, you can do that because you're Olaf. Well, turns out if you're Blaber, you can do that if you're Trundle or Lee Sin or Olaf.
Yep.
The champions that he has played. They just play very well around it. You can see the committed amount of vision down on the bottom side. They have 3 pink wards in that dragon quadrant. They have a deep ward that spotted out the Ivern. Cloud9 always kind of does their due diligence, gets the push, supports their lane, with the jungler, and then uses that pressure to take dragons and threaten a win condition through Soul.
Yep, without looking it up, I would be willing to bet that Cloud9 have got every single first dragon in their game so far this split. Just been how dominant they've been around these early objectives. Licorice for the all-in. Here comes Nisqy, though. Never a fair fight with Twisted Fate in the game. And there's the double spin. Moxie, be proud. There's the kill for Nisqy.
Not 1, but 2 ultimates there from the Wukong. Able to knock down Allorim. He even had the early Executioners, great for that 1v1, reducing a lot of the self-healing. And now the kick flash!
Into the stun, Fun plus Phoenix! Nisqy looking to take down Insanity, but he cleanses out of there. Blaber now all fully low, dances back though, and now Nisqy needs one more. Yeah, better flush out of there, as Insanity will escape. But Nisqy back with the emotes, hammer in the tower.
Yeah, but you can see how Ivern was able to actually fight back. They almost took down Blaber. Blaber had the 6 to only the level 5 of Xmithie, so if he did have level 6, if he had the Daisy there, could have made something happen. The damage that actually comes out from the shield can be a little bit surprising. That pop of damage, they have buffed the auto attack range from Ivern quite a while ago now, but it used to be in the past that you only got the bonus auto attack range if you were in a brush. Now you just have that passively, and it does more damage if you're in the brush, but you can still have that range. It makes it more easy for you to skirmish, makes it more easy for you to have just kind of a higher baseline of success in these fights, and you still do have the buff donation. So it's actually going to be a red buff on Insanity. That can be pretty annoying to deal with, not only because of the true damage burn and the slow, but also because of the HP regen. So it can allow you to trade more aggressively in this 1v1 mid lane and look to try to be really annoying.
Yep, Nisqy gets the blue buff though. No extra buff on the non-Ivern team, but Nisqy will happily clear these waves out and perhaps look to ulti away once again, although it's not back up cooldown just yet. Very long cooldown on the rank 1 ulti, and rightly so. Looks like just some farming as we see when the next room does continue. Checking back in with the numbers. There's a decent lead, about 10 for both Licorice and Zven right now. Good dodge of the bubble there from Nisqy. Insanity feeling a bit more aggressive, given that he's found a cleanse out of a balloon.
Yeah, he has
get
the
knocked
cleanse.
up and use it.
And he can trade health, because he has that red buff. He knows he's going to regen a lot of that up. Vulcan suspecting a roam here as Hakuho, was missing, and so he looks to actually match that roam. You can see it's actually tabbies here from Hakuho, so going a more defensive route, there is a heavy amount of AD damage, with the Lee Sin, Wukong, Kalista, and even Thresh. But it is going to be this move towards Rift Herald, has been spotted here by Immortals. Question is, are you willing to actually take the team fight? Flash Ultimate is available for Licorice, and it would be tough to actually make the move over into it.
Ooh, sleepy Blaber might actually just get the steal here. Gonna get the damage down though. Ooh, True Drop Raj also making Blaber's health very unsettling, but the Rift Herald goes over and it is stolen by Allorim. He actually snags the eye as well, but he's gonna have to flash out of there. Does get stunned, but he'll make it out safely. Blaber wants to punish, but cannot find him. And that pressure onto Blaber did force the early smite, hence the steal for Immortals.
Hey, really nicely done actually by Immortals. Yes, Xmithie does die. He uses his flash, uses ulti, goes down anyway, but I think you're pretty happy about that. You're willing to give over your jungler for that Rift Herald kill and the Rift Herald take. You know, they grabbed the eye in that situation because it was looking like it was going to be Cloud9 winning the fight and getting the Herald, so they make the best of a bad situation there, and they will walk away with something, but I mean, this is kind of the magic of Cloud9. They're already up 2,000 gold, and it feels like, you know, not that much has really happened. You know, 2 kills went the way of Apollo at level 1, including the first blood, and you're still up this much with the dragon to your name this early. They just seem to always be able to get farm advantages to create plays and take...
Kind of baited by his own emote as Insanity throws up thumbs up. Nisqy just walking over the edge of that bubble to take himself a not good trade.
He's okay. He's probably going to base here anyway, it looks like. And he's going towards the Roa first item. He does have the stopwatch ready to go now as well, so some playmaking available there. It's a pretty durable early build when you have the Merc Treads, the stopwatch, and this Roa. So, you know, we could look to see him get a little bit aggressive in these fights, but he's got to really keep track of the cleanse cooldowns, because if you try to ult into the backline for a gold card onto someone like Apollo or Insanity, they both are playing cleanse, which is going to make it pretty difficult, and Cloud9 has got to be very sure about their engages, because if you don't kill someone off right away, the value that Ivern gets in these extended fights goes up and up and up as he gets more and more rounds of shielding out. Becomes pretty difficult.
Yeah, Blaber does take the top crab, but Zven and Vulcan have actually pushed Apollo and Hakuho out of lane. Whether or not they're just taking a recall timing, not too sure, but they will get some damage down to the tower, take some plates off, and there is the second Drake to fight for here. So it looks like Immortals are going to translate down to that area, but Blaber is actually on the top side still, and I think Xmithie knows that something's happening top lane. There comes TF, and the double knock up again. Allorim just nowhere good to go, even gets kicked by Blaber just to secure the kill.
It's never a fair fight up in that top lane. The 3v1, all ultimates committed, and Allorim is going to get punished there. You've got to be so quick about, you know, backing off, about playing defensive when the other team has TF. Anytime TF is missing and you don't know exactly where he is, you've got to expect that he could be coming to your lane, and it's definitely a difficult situation to be in for Allorim, who is already losing in that 1v1. Now Licorice is going to be able to get plates, they're going to be able to get the dragon off this, and while it's normally more risky to go for that top lane attack, because they can move so quickly down to the bottom side, and because Licorice has TP and Allorim doesn't, they're going to get the kill top side, they're going to get plates top side, and they're still going to have priority on this bottom side. Because if you actually try to come into the fight, well, Licorice is going to TP, and you're probably going to lose.
Looks like Drake over to Cloud9, so going to take that second ocean nice and easily.
Yep, and the gold lead has doubled since we last talked about it. It's just been a couple of minutes, and they're now up 4K with 2 dragons to their name. It's just insane how quickly they're able to snowball this.
Yeah, I mean, think about what you just said. They made a 3-man play topside and still got the objective on the bottom half of the map. That is, as you mentioned, kind of the magic of Cloud9, which is impressive to watch, but they know what their limits, they know exactly how to set up for these things, and they often test things to make sure, you know what, can we be greedy here? Can we afford to try and take the maximum? We have seen teams as recently as last game get punished for wanting to take the maximum, or not take the maximum in instances as well, but that game was quite the anomaly. But I think Cloud9 have just shown, like, not only are they extremely talented individually, but their decision making, how quick they are to come to a conclusion about what they want to be doing in a game is just one of the many reasons they're on top right now. As Rift Herald will charge into the mid lane, some plate money will go over, but not much else there.
And I mean, this is something that sounds really simple, but I mean, even just, so we'll watch Hakuho.
He's fine.
Seems like he's fine, but it's something that sounds very simple, but I mean, when you watch a lot of TF players around the world, you know, they'll take so long to get their first ultimate out, and just the fact that Nisqy is so proactive, you know, when the ultimate comes back up, the teammates are already setting up for the play, they have already cleared vision on his path towards where he wants to go, they have the lane in a proper spot to actually look for it, and it's engaged on the bottom side.
Nasty double play there. Hakuho low does have his flash, but doesn't have to use it. Already burnt the exhaust though, so Zven and Vulcan at least getting some good damage out of the deal, but Vulcan did have to use both his summoners for that.
Yeah, they did get the flash off Apollo though and the exhaust off Hakuho, so going to be feeling pretty good about that because it's also going to mean the tower is likely going down. Xmithie though trying to move down here to prevent that.
Zven just letting it rip onto Apollo. Ivern shield was probably necessary to protect Apollo. One more auto in that rend I think may have felled him. Top lane, oh goodness. Every time we come to the top lane now I get nervous for Allorim.
Yeah, I think every time Allorim comes to the top lane, he gets nervous for Allorim. So
Oh, here we go again.
Rest in peace, Allorim.
Yep, there's the gold card. Stun, kick, damage, spin around, and that's an easy kill for Blaber once again.
Yep, what are you going to do? I mean, it's honestly a rough situation.
Yep.
He would have had to back off early, right? He would have had to be out of there before they can even set up that play. You know, and that is a bit on him, but you can also say that perhaps Xmithie needs to be behind him, shadowing him when they are setting up for these types of plays. It's very difficult. Cloud9 is moving at such a fast pace, and again, as soon as the TF ult is up, guess what? The play is already propped on the top side. Blaber is already up there. Nisqy is moving. Instant ult, instant kill. They make it look so damn easy.
Yeah, when I said I was worried for Allorim, he was actually hitting the tower in mid lane, so took not much time at all to translate to that top dive, and just continued snowball here for Cloud9 as Insanity does hit a very nice bubble plus paddle star combo, but not enough to knock down the 6,000 gold lead. That is absurd for Cloud9 here, 16 minutes in. Just a casual 6K. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. They're going for the Rift Herald here as well. Xmithie has gotten his redemption, so that's something working for them. Is a very powerful team fight item, but I mean, the disadvantage on the top side is honestly just so rough. This Wukong is going to be out of control. He already has his Executioners, full Triforce, and a Tiamat at 16.5 minutes. You know, you look over on the other side, it's just kind of the components there for Allorim, and he is building towards cheaper items. So it's definitely a really tough spot for him to be in. And Licorice, when you are this far ahead, it really doesn't take much extra from your teammates on Wukong to then just instantly kill someone, right? You know, Triforce is providing a lot of extra burst with the Sheen proc there too, and you know that Zven can be there adding any frontline damage in. You could have Blaber and Nisqy going into the backline with you, and if anyone gets low whatsoever, they will be deleted by this Wukong.
Yeah, Humble Glaive for Blaber too, so he's just like sweeping vision out on the right side of the jungle. They drop the Herald mid, just to make a play on almost every front. Mid tank outer is gone. Blaber is looking for an angle. Does not connect onto Apollo with the resonating strike, but 45 seconds until that next Drake is up as Cloud9 can once again get themselves towards a very early soul point.
Yep, going to be moving towards that third dragon, 7,000 gold lead, a lot of strong early champions. It's so hard to see how Immortals are going to really be able to fight their way out of this one. I did like the idea of trying to go for something different here with the Ivern, something a little bit unexpected perhaps, and trying to, utilize that as maybe a wing condition with kind of this poke comp, but Cloud9 is just way too good at escalating the pace of the game for Immortals to be able to keep up.
Blaber, that's just gross! Kicks Allorim back in, and Zven this time gets credit. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who gets it.
You bullies. He's already dead.
Yeah, at least for the fourth time, certainly, as they'll take the tier 2 alongside with it. Oh, look, the dragon's up. Weird. Wonder why they made a play when they did. IMT, Apollo, and Xmithie gonna go ahead and knock down mid outer tower, so at least they'll try and get a trade, but this is the worst trade deal in a long while.
In the history of trade deals, some might even say. Poor Allorim, man, coming up to the LCS, he has a pretty decent Malphite game in his first game, and then you're up against Cloud9, you're up against the Wukong that you're known for. The memes are going to be never ending here, as he is just getting picked on non-stop by Nisqy and Blaber. He shows up to any sort of tower, and he's just dead. It's just such a tough spot for him to be in now. He's now down 2+ levels. The items are just coming in even more so now for Licorice, who's likely going to be grabbing a Death Dance next year and just going to be getting to ridiculous levels of Fed.
Yep, Nisqy also 2 items already done, 7 charges on the Rod of Ages, so 3 away from 10, and Lichbane is the second item of choice, which I think is the most common choice, especially when you're ahead. It's just so good at snowballing when the map is open like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you can go towards the Zonias if you're looking more for that kind of like team fight, aggressive initiation style of build. But, in a situation like this, especially when you still haven't been forced to use your stopwatch, there's just no need. You can go for the more aggressive option. If you get time alone on a turret, you're going to be looking, really good to knock down that quickly. Your burst is going to be stronger every time you're ulting into the side lanes. The CDR, obviously, comparable on both items, but it does feel really, really nice to go the Lichbane route.
the little things sometimes. I'm pretty sure Blaber tried to like cancel an auto by safeguarding away to take that chicken. I don't know, like it's like 0.02 seconds of efficiency or whatever, but I appreciate that he's, you know, doing the little things mechanically. As again, this game has just been another standard Cloud9 thrashing. Nisqy with 2 combat summoners ready to TP onto someone's face. Licorice has way too many items at this point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, you know, closing
Great
in on
social
an 8,000
media,
gold
excellent
lead.
branding, wonderful apparel, great owner. You just got it all. It's not fair. They got like 5 coaches.
Well, they're going to keep it going here, ulting in, looking for a kill on top side.
Hey, it's Hakuho. He's in a bit of trouble. TP, though, in. Going to be first for Allorim. Joins in the party. Not really the invite he wanted, though, and the spins keep coming in from Licorice. Zven able to take down Ezreal on the rotate. Insanity going to fall as well. Stun lands in for Nisqy. Hakuho under the tower, low, but not out just yet. Xmithie instead will be collateral. And the wild cards are not enough because Blaber's there first. The thumbs down from Nisqy as his jungler steals his kill. But hey, look, the bot lane is there for Cloud9 as they take all 5 of Immortals down.
And what a coincidence. The Baron has spawned. It's 20 minutes. How about we'll grab that too? That sounds nice. Cloud9 going to grab that on the back end of that clean ace up on that top side. They already have the Rageblade Blade of Rune King. This die is just so ridiculously fast. Very easy 20-minute Baron. And you were talking about the speed run. Could they actually beat that earlier time set by EG against CLG, that perfect game? This is not a perfect game, but it might end up being even faster as they're willing to go very deep here. Nisqy knows he's safe to ult in aggressively because he's chosen the support. He's not ulting into a bunch of damage dealers, so his team can actually catch up here. Zven winning out this duel on the bottom side here against Apollo, pulls Vulcan back to him, easily winning that 2v2 down on that bottom side. And up on the top side, it's just not even close. They continue the dive past the tower, getting the final kill there onto Hakuho, and this is just an absolute shellacking at this point from Cloud9.
Rewatching that team fight and looking at Licorice, it was like the ending of Inception. It just doesn't stop spinning that whole fight.
It ain't close pasty time, I'll tell you that much.
All right, well, at least while we're tracking things here, 24 minutes and 9 seconds is the record to beat for fastest game so far this split. Not a lot of time for Cloud9 to do it, but if they can do it within this Red Bull Baron power play, then hey, certainly
I think
there's a
they can,
chance.
man. They're so fed and they have strong dives, so it just depends. Do they see the opportunity? Do they want to play it out more slowly? You know, they don't want to risk over diving and, you know, giving over a bunch of shutdowns. Then maybe there's some slight way back in for Immortals, but I do think that there's a very high chance that Cloud9 can spread them out, make people answer multiple waves, find their window to actually look for a dive and potentially close the game.
On pace. Let's see if they can break it here. Pushing all 3 lanes right now. Hook lands in onto Zven. The lantern is there, but he's got nowhere to click it. Oh, he flashes out just barely in the nick of time. The Fate's call for Vulcan is enough to save him as Nisqy dives in, and oh goodness, Licorice back to spinning in the backlines again. There's the second as he gets kicked into the other knockup. Hakuho, see you later. As Insanity and Apollo are chasing back in, and we may well be on as Apollo is kiting back trying to cut some waves here and there, but Cloud9 are going to hunt him down by the looks of things. It's just not
want
fair.
The Nexus. They just want the kills.
Oh, Blaber nails it as well. The resonating strike dominating for Blaber as he takes down Apollo. Only Insanity left to defend the Nexus. Less than a minute to go. Cloud9. We'll see how quickly they can end this game, because it certainly looks like they're trying to.
Yeah, they're going for triple inhib, so I think they might not actually try to go for the end, or they want triple inhib and then the opportunity to back up if they don't think they can end it. But waves coming in from all sides. Blaber goes in with no help.
Oh, Blaber, okay. You know what? His coach told him about finding exit strategies, had none for that, so he will give his life away, and I think that does mean we are now off record pace. Insanity and the rest of Immortals will hold on for now, but that gold lead is not reasonable at all.
No, and they're looking for soul right now. They're already on that soul, so that's always nice too. And Blaber just looking for the quick recall, I'm sure. You know, wanted to get back to base, spend that gold, so going to allow his second jungler here, Zven, to pick it up with the Ren.
Does get it. Good smite there from Zven, making sure the range was ready to go. It's almost a death cap dump for Nisqy as well. I mean, yeah, the advantage is just as we said. Unreasonable. We're out of hyperbole to describe how far ahead Cloud9 are in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's 15,000 gold lead at 24 minutes. Triple inhib down. You have soul. Like, there's actually no chance, right? You know, this is pretty much as insurmountable as you can get. it would take an absolute comedy of errors for Cloud9 not to be able to even close this out in the next couple minutes here. And I think that they are going to just look to try to close it right now on the push. No need to actually wait for, the Elder and the Baron and everything. I do think you can just kind of try to close in on all sides, keep those minions going, and look to end this one out.
Yeah, that might not even need all 5 champions at this point. Maybe leave someone at home. Maybe let Blaber hang out in the fountain. Send her to go relax for a bit. It's done a lot of work already in this game.
Take a break.
IMT, oh goodness, that's way too many super minions. The Horde has arrived. IMT are busy clearing up the PvE portion of the game, let alone the PvP that Cloud9 are about to inflict upon them. Hakuho gets stunned up in the front lines. The Sad B is out. The next turrets are gone, and it's the last stand here from Immortals. Double play there for Vulcan into the box, and the spins happen once more as Licorice Beyblades into the back line. And that's going to be the front side dead. Apollo and Senator the only ones left alive, and Aloy can expose Nexus as another win for Cloud9 is now upon us. And how much of the fountain will they dive for KDA purposes? You got to pad the DPM as Cloud9 will take victory number 6.
Very well done. Clean 6-0 on the season. There was no doubt about this one. Let's be honest. Cloud9 just absolutely blasting Immortals. Interesting level 1 to be sure. Ezreal being able to get 2 kills, flashing into the turret, chasing all the way across the map. That was a pretty fun start to the game, but Immortals really never got a foothold in this game. They were already losing on the top side early in the 1v1. Cloud9 snowballed that incredibly well. They won the 2v2 on the bottom side outright. Nisqy went even while roaming non-stop in the mid lane, and Blaber's ahead in the jungle. So it's like you're winning all 5 roles, you're taking all objectives, you're snowballing the game, and that's what it looks like. That's a damn near perfect game of League of Legends there from Cloud9 as they just absolutely destroyed Immortals.
Yeah, it was actually that level 1. That's the only reason it wasn't a perfect game. It felt like another dominating performance there, as we will be stepping away. But on the other side, Licorice is going to hear from the top lane of Cloud9 in the Verizon post-game interview.
Dreams aren't achieved overnight. They take passion, dedication. And even then, there are no guarantees. But for the LCS, that's the power of dreams. It means you never give up. It means you always play again. Honda, proud automotive partner of the LCS.
Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS. I'm standing on by with our Verizon post-game interview. I had to hear from Licorice after this because Mark Z's watch has ended. Wukong is here. You brought him to the table for NA. So just why? Why now? Why did this happen?
Well, Wukong is just like a really, really strong pick. Like, it's one of the few top laners right now that can actually like solo carry a game in like full on 1v9 mode. And the reason you're not seeing it is because people are like more scared of like the counters to Wukong, and maybe they don't know the champion super well. But like, I think the champion is just so strong that you just pick it anyways.
Well, and that's the thing with one of the concerns being a weak side champion in this case. You still handle him very well here. So as far as how you're handling the pick in this case, talk us through your execution in this particular game.
Yeah, so in this game, like, you're playing Wukong versus Aatrox, so you can push him early, and then basically the lane is kind of a stalemate where since he has more range than me, I'm kind of waiting for him to do something, and if he misses his Q, then I get a window, and if he hits his Q, then like I don't have a window. So it's like a pretty boring farm lane if I play it well, which I did, and then like as soon as TF hits 6, like he just dies in one shot, so he just can't play the game.
Now, I know that you and Allorim have a bit of a history together as well, so you're not unfamiliar with his background with this pick. Did that add any fun having to your game today? Being that a lot of these games, for instance, just have been a lot of fun to watch from a viewer perspective.
I try really hard not to focus on like things that aren't the game that I'm actually playing at the moment, but like when I locked it in, the thought crossed my mind that like not only was I the first person to pick Wukong in the LCS, I was also locking it in against Allorim, who used to be a Wukong one trick, so that it brought a smile to my face.
Now, all the fun having aside, I know even on the dive they're speaking about the fact that Cloud9 can get away with doing things that other teams don't, and maybe the work that happens between the staff and the players to keep focused. So in your run currently, still having great success on Cloud9, is there anything that you're doing as an individual to keep yourself focused on those minor improvements game to game?
The only thing I'm doing, and it's something that I always do, is just making sure that I'm getting better. Because like it doesn't actually matter how good we are, because like the other teams are gonna get better, and like we also need to get better if they're gonna get better. So it doesn't actually matter how good we are, it just matters how fast we get better. So that's my focus, and I think that's the focus of all my teammates and the staff as well.
Well, and you're saying that getting your team better, but everyone else within the league better as well. C9 seems to form a meta in its own sense within this league. Do you feel any of that sense, the fact that your playstyle as a team is influencing the other teams?
Speaking for myself personally, I think I prepare more than like my preparation is better than the other top laners in the league, and I think that goes for all of my teammates as well. So we just have more picks to draw from, and we also have more knowledge. Like we know picks that are good in certain situations that other teams just miss, like the Wukong, for example. So like we're just more prepared, we're more practiced, and we're just better.
Well, preparation sure does go a long way, and I'm sure the desk is very excited to talk more about your play and the rest of Cloud9, so thank you again, Licorice, for speaking to me. But with that, let's send things over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Licorice. You're exactly right. And thank you, Licorice, for our very first Wukong in the LCS. It happened, Mark. It happened just for you.
I had this whole big thing prepared. I was going to have like bananas out and all this stuff, but then it took so long for North America to play it. I had to freeze my bananas. And then I was like, how do I unfreeze bananas? So I tried to microwave them, and now I have this mushy puddle of bananas.
Oh,
that's
God,
disgusting.
get that off of my screen, sir.
So I was going to like have a bit where I'm eating the bananas. I'm talking about how great Wukong is. I'm not going to do that. I'll probably
commit to the joke. Commit to the joke.
Eat it. Spam in chat if you should eat it.
No. All right, well, we did it. We got the Wukong, and it was actually interesting hearing Licorice's thoughts that it did take this long for the Wukong to come out, because when he was talking about the strengths of the champion, it sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah, he says it's so strong that you should pick it no matter what. And somehow that's resulted in one game of it. But it has insane level 6. You saw what he's talking about where he said, you know, Allorim just can't play the game once I hit 6 with TF. And then it just continues to scale throughout the game. He said it's one of the few top laners who can actually 1v9, and you get to see why here.
I mean, you have no other champion can you mess up your initial engage and still have another shot at it. That's one of the amazing things about him. But usually you're just good enough to get the double knockup on them. And this is why we wanted to see more Twisted Fate, because when players start getting more comfortable with these carry type top laners, the game is just over on the top side, and there's no way anybody can come to the rescue.
And the funny thing is, he's mentioning like it has a whole bunch of bad matchups, but you know that doesn't really matter to pick it anyway. And yeah, you see in EU they'll play it in support and LPL. It's like it's a support champion too. That means it can do its job with a support amount of gold. So even if it's not great in lane, which obviously Licorice did a really great job, that's how powerful this champion is. And I hope this kind of like catches on a bit now that not only the analyst desk is pushing it, but now like one of the best top laners in NA is pushing it.
Yeah, I'm so happy that they actually won this game and it looked good, so that way people aren't like, see, it's bad. And like, thank God Licorice gave such a strong case for it. I mean, obviously C9 is such a dominant team. I think they could pick half the champions in the league and put on a similar performance.
Right.
But to be fair, you know, it was a big part of their win. It was their game plan to snowball topside. Even when things went wrong initially in their level 1 invade, they still were able to pop off with it.
Yeah, we saw those statistics. Of course, there it is again, Mark. I love it.
My place
I love
is
it,
at the
man.
top.
We did see those statistics about that 10 to 15 minute mark where Cloud9 just continues to turn it on against other teams. And I do want to recognize that you pointed out, Mark, it didn't start in the best of ways for Cloud9. And I'll bring that back to our pregame discussion, which is where, Crumbs, you call it, I want to see teams take risks against Cloud9 because that's the only option they have, it seems, to win. Okay, while the win didn't come for Immortals, how did you feel about Immortals' approach to the game?
I mean, I like that they chose to fight early on in the defense because you have the Ivern WQ to fight, but it's a really tricky situation because you know that the jungler is going to hit level 2. Ivern's not going to be able to get a smite war going against a Lee Sin, so it was a bold choice. It was just kind of doomed from the start. I felt like the Cloud9 was pretty much set to win the entire time. I would have liked to see a different game where Xmithie gets to play Nidalee. That's the kind of pick that I would have liked to see him go against it, because the Ivern is just hoping that you survive and then hit a stage in the game where you just shield your Aatrox and then you win that way. So I never felt like we got to see what Xmithie could really do on a pick that no one in NA has been able to come up with a win yet.
Yeah, even the Guardian like rune choice over Aerie is a more like late game-ish choice with the the fact that you're going to be positioning near a carry or something, where not like as much focus on the gank or different things like that.
Probably give me your gut feeling on this. Cloud9, they're now 6-0 at the end of week 3. They had a 17-1 regular season or regular split last spring. Do you think this might be the time we see 18-0?
Huh. I don't think so.
Okay.
I
and
still
is
think
that because you think, or yeah, give me why.
Yeah, I would say in the beginning of spring, I would say the general like gameplay and macro knowledge of NA was so weak, and their execution was so poor for like the first like 6 weeks of spring, where it was really like, yeah, I can't believe anyone would ever contest C9. But now in summer, we're seeing a lot of teams like have a lot higher base level of understanding. They're playing resets better. They're actually playing objective control better. We're seeing a lot better dragon control in general. So I would say like the average level of North America has leveled up between spring and summer. So that's why I give them a chance, because yeah, I know C9's probably improving at a faster rate. That's kind of what Licorice was alluding to, where it's more impressive to think about your own improvement. But I would say that there's still a higher chance now than in spring.
Looking at that cluster of about 5 teams competing for second best right now to maybe turn the tables on Cloud9 and knock them down a peg. But they will remain undefeated at the end of week 3. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, it's Golden Guardians versus FlyQuest.
Level 2, but he gets hooked again. They go in for it. The first blood, they want it if they can get it, but Apollo does find the snipe. Will be traded out there to Zven. And I think Xmithie knows that something's happening top lane. There comes TF. And the double knock up again. Allorim just nowhere good to go. Even gets kicked.
Rest in peace, Allorim.
Yep. There's the gold card. Stun. Kick. Damage. Spin around. And that's an easy kill.
For Immortals to be able to keep up.
Blaber. That's just gross. Kicks Allorim back in. And Zven this time gets credit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who gets it.
You bullies.
The Fate's call for Vulcan is enough to save him as Nisqy dives in, and oh goodness, Licorice back to spinning in the backlines again. There's the second as he gets kicked into the other knockup. Hakuho, see you later.
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning. Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.